The NASCAR Cup Series heads to the Charlotte Roval, and we see one of the most incredible comebacks in NASCAR history. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. I just got done watching the America Roll 400 from the Charlotte Roval, and I have to say that this race was absolutely really good. We're going to go ahead and talk about the race here right now. So, before the green flag drop, only one car would have to go to the rear of the field for failing inspection multiple times. Garrett Sidley was the only one to have to go to the rear of the field for failing inspection. So, let's jump into the race now. So, on the inside, you had Denny Hamlin on the inside and Brad Keselowski on the outside, and Denny Hamlin was able to keep the race lead. The first incident of the race would actually happen on lap 5 for Eric Roval. Eric Roval actually came down into Chris Buescher. A lot of people are looking at Eric Roval and wonder what the heck he was doing there, because Eric Roval did come down on Chris Buescher and basically spun himself out. Eric said he got dumped, but let's be honest, Eric Roval basically dumped himself, unfortunately, and took himself out of contention in this race. And then, right before the competition caution came out in this race, because the competition caution was on lap 10 of the event, a lot of the main leaders decided to come down the road on lap 9. Guys like Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Christopher Bell, Chase Briscoe, Chris Buescher, among others who come down the road, while a lot of the other drivers decided to stay out. And then a lap later, a couple other guys came in, guys like Denny Hamlin, Kurt Busch, Austin Dillon, Ross Chastain, and William Byron would all come down pit road. And then we would come to the competition caution at lap 10 with Joey Logano being the race leader. And then we would see some cars basically come down pit road. Basically, they all would have to stay out, try to stay out, of course. I think a couple cars came down pit road during the competition caution. But on the restart, you have Joey Logano on the inside and Ryan Blaney on the outside, and Joey Logano was able to keep the race lead. And then Ryan Newman, basically a few laps later on lap 20, Ryan Newman basically spin coming off of turn number 14. He would hit the outside wall really hard and break. I think he broke something in the car, and unfortunately would fall of this race. And this would bring out the caution on lap 20 of this event. And then we would basically see the caution. A lot of drivers decided to pit. Guys like Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, Austin Dillon, even Kyle Larson, Alex Bowman came down pit road, while some drivers decided to stay out in the race. And on the restart, have Ryan Blaney leading the outside and Chase Elliott on the inside. And A.J. Allmendinger got a really good restart and was able to lead. Meanwhile, Matt DiBenedetto would miss the back chicane on the restart, and also during that time on the front stretch coming to complete lap 23, Ryan Preece would get some contact from Joe Logano and spin into the outside wall. We would say green. And then a lap or two later, Chase Elliott was able to get around A.J. Allmendinger with about one lap to go in the stage. Chase made a really good run. They were side by side going into chicane. A.J. had the lead for a little bit, and Chase got to the inside. And coming off the final corner, Chase Elliott would win stage number 1 of this race. So then after this, we would see pit stops. Guys like Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, Mark Truex, guys who had not pit under the last caution, they came down pit road, while some of the drivers stayed out, including A.J. Allmendinger, who unfortunately said he was basically out of tires at that point. His tires are really struggling, so he stayed out under that last caution. And then I go back racing on lap 30 with A.J. Allmendinger leading the race, but Kyle Busch was able to pass A.J. going into turn number 4 and was able to pull away. And then we started hearing some alternator problems for 2 of the Hendrick cars. The first one being Alex Bowman, who was actually running 7th at the time, but he started having alternator problems. And then, arguably the best driver all season long, Kyle Larson, he started having alternator volt issues in the car as well. And then we would see a caution a few laps later that would help, and we'll talk more about Kyle Larson's alternator problems here in just a second. But Chris Buescher would spin off contact from Chase Briscoe for 23rd on the front chicane, and NASCAR decided to throw the caution. And then a lot of drivers came down pit road, guys like A.J. Allmendinger, Kyle Larson, Alex Bowman, Brad Keselowski. Some of those guys come in, of course, Kyle Larson and Alex Bowman were coming in to fix the alternator problems in this race. Kyle Larson basically was able to change the battery, and basically Kyle Larson was able to replace an alternator boot, but Kyle Larson, they decided to keep him basically from trying to keep him going a lap down, so they decided at that point to go ahead and keep him on the lead lap. So they decided at the end of the stage they would come down the road to fix the alternator. But on the restart, you have Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch leading on the inside, and William Byron on the outside, and Kyle Busch is able to get the race lead. And then Alex Bowman, once again, a few laps later on the restart, said he was starting to have some alternator issues and voltage issues and alternator problems. Once again, he was getting below that 14.5 range. Usually crew chiefs say you want to be in that 14.5 range. They feel really good. He was in a 13.1, and they said that it wasn't sure if he was going to make it, but he was able to make it to the end of the stage. And then a lap later, we would see Cole Custer basically spin from 13, but the field would basically still stay green. And then a few laps later, green flag pit stop. what happened once again. Guys like William Byron, Austin Dillon, Daniel Suarez, Denny Hamlin, among others, came down pit road, while the rest of the leaders decided to stay out. And coming off the corner, Kyle Busch would come off the corner and win stage 1, it was stage 2 at the Charlotte Roval. And then on the stage caution, we would see Alex Bowman and Kyle Larson come down pit road. Now, at this point, Alex Bowman basically had to work on come down pit road before the pit road basically had opened up, and he was not allowed to come in. He would have to come back in a lap later, and Kyle Larson was able to fix those alternator issues. And at this point, it was for Kyle Larson was get as many points as we can to make sure we advance, because Kyle Larson at this point was below the cutoff line. But Cliff Daniels really did a good job explaining the issue to the crew. Did a really good job. He is very, very calm. And having that calm crew chief on the box is really, really beneficial, and was able to fix the issues for Kyle Larson. And the biggest thing for Kyle Larson was he just had to drive straight up to the field. And then on the restart, we see William Byron lead the inside and Austin Dillon on the outside, and William Byron was able to get the race lead. And then a lap later, tempers would flare in this race. Between Kevin Harvick and Chase Elliott. Remember what happened at Bristol, where Kevin Harvick and Chase Elliott got into it. Chase Elliott and Kevin Harvick got contact going to turn number 3, and Elliott got a flat tire, and there was tension on pit road. Well, the stuff flared up from Bristol. Kevin Harvick got into the back of Chase Elliott going to turn number 5, destroyed the back bumper of the car, and this would bring, I believe, bring out the caution of this race because of that incident, which was really, really shocking to see. I did not expect Kevin Harvick to repay Chase Elliott from the incident, but this would bring out the caution in this race. And then they were able to fix Chase Elliott's car and get him back up at minimum speed. Chase Elliott was not very happy at all. I can't blame him for that, because Chase Elliott basically had a good enough car, I think, to win the race, and unfortunately, he lost a chance to basically contend overall for the victory in this race because of the incident, but he was not officially out of the race. So, on the restart a few laps later, you have William Byron on the inside and Austin Dillon on the outside, and on that restart as well, AJ Allmendinger on the backstretch on the restart. He actually basically still on the backstretch for an engine failure, but NASCAR decided to keep the field green, and then we would keep going racing for a little bit, and then about 10 laps into the run, Denny Hamlin basically missed the back chicane, who was running 3rd at the time, trying to catch William Byron and Austin Dillon and have an overall ace shot for the victory. Denny Hamlin missed the back chicane and fall all the way back to 6th. And then green flag pit stop started happening. A couple cars staying down pit road, Kyle Larson and Chris Roval. And then a lap later, guys like Kevin Harvick, Joe Logano, Kyle Busch all came down pit road. And then all the leaders a lap later came down pit road. Guys like William Byron, Tyler Reddick, and Austin Dillon came down pit road. And once that all happened in exchange, we would see Denny Hamlin have the lead for a few laps. And then Denny Hamlin came down pit road and gave the lead back up to William Byron. At this time, Chase Elliott, a few laps later, his back bumper that they had fixed under the last caution that had happened, Chase Elliott basically back bumper started coming loose. The car was starting to come off the car. And I had said on Twitter that basically that back bumper is not going to make it to the checkered flag. Now, NASCAR has a decision to make. Do they want to take Chase Elliott out of a potential championship run, or do they want to go ahead and keep him out there on the track and potentially bring out a yellow? NASCAR decides to go with a second option, and they don't black flag Chase Elliott, and the bumper comes off Chase Elliott's car with 23 laps to go in this race, and this would bring out the caution. And then we would see a lot of the leaders come down pit road. The only guys that stayed out at this point were Denny Hamlin, Matt DiBenedetto, and Anthony Alfredo. They decided to pit while everyone else decided to come down pit road. And Alex Bowman, unfortunately, would be speeding on pit road, have to go to the tail end of the longest line. So, on the restart, you have Denny Hamlin on the inside and Matt DiBenedetto on the outside, and Denny Hamlin was able to get the race lead. And Tyler Reddick, who was really, really fast, and catching William Byron on the last run, he started making up a ton of ground on Denny Hamlin and tried to challenge for the race lead. Meanwhile, on that same lap as well, Brad Keselowski would get some contact from, I can't remember who it was from, but he got some contact on the back chicane and basically would fall below the cutoff line at this point. And then William Byron, who was trying to charge his way back up to the front, he would miss the backstretch chicane after contact from Tyler Reddick. A lot of people thought that Kyle Larson had gotten into the back of his teammate, maybe some pegback from Talladega, but no. Tyler Reddick got into the back of William Byron, and we'd have to come to a complete stop. And then a few laps later, the next caution would come out in this race. Corey LaJoie and Joey Hand would basically hit the outside wall going to turn number 3. Joey Hand's back bumper is basically destroyed, and Corey LaJoie got a lot of damage. Unfortunately, both their cars would fall out of this race, which is really, really unfortunate because Corey LaJoie basically had a really, really fast car in this race and unfortunately would fall out of it. So, we would go back, basically have some guys come down pit road. Guys like Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Brad Keselowski, Derek Almirola came down pit road, while the rest leaders decided to stay out. So, on the restart, you have Denny Hamlin on the inside and Kyle Larson on the outside. Kyle Larson actually tried to get the lead going to turn number 5, but Denny Hamlin was able to keep the race lead. And Tyler Reddick, and they all started having a really good battle between the top 3 or 4 in this race. Tyler Reddick tried to get around Larson, couldn't really do anything. Larson basically tried to get back there. And then Kurt Busch actually missed the chicane from 5th position, had to come to a complete stop. Luckily, he was able to come to a complete stop. And then the final caution in this race will come out with 9 laps to go, with about 12 laps to go in this race, and it was unfortunately another playoff driver running into problems. Chase Elliott is basically closing in on Kevin Harvick, and Kevin Harvick completely overdrives the corner and completely drives straight into the outside wall. Kevin Harvick locks up the tires and gets a ton of damage, and unfortunately Kevin Harvick falls out of the playoff contention because of this. And then we would say basically stay green. We basically could bring out the caution and would come down pit road. Guys like Chase Elliott, Bryce Austin came down pit road to try to strategize while the rest leaders decided to stay out. So on the restart, you have Denny Hamlin on the inside and Kyle Larson on the outside. Kyle Larson was able to basically keep the race lead from Denny Hamlin at this particular point, and he was able to drive off and take overall the race lead. And during that time as well, Denny Hamlin actually got a lot of contact from some battle between Chris Buescher and Joe Logano got into the back of Denny Hamlin up this point. While Kyle Larson's trying to pull away from guys like William Byron and Tyler Reddick, Mark Truex Jr. basically spun from 27th. He was really, really frustrated. Basically, was not having a great day to begin with, and Mark Truex Jr. spun after contact from Joey Hand. They would have tempers after the race at the conclusion. There would be some contact between those two. And then, 2 laps ago, William Byron was trying to charge up and try to pass Tyler Reddick, and he would get off the track from 3rd in turn number 5 and would get a ton of damage, but then the caution would not come out. And then on the white flag, it basically became a cat and mouse game. Can Tyler Reddick run Kyle Larson down, or is Kyle Larson going to be able to hold on and score the victory here at the Charlotte Roval? Well, he was able to pull off one of the most incredible comebacks in NASCAR history. Kyle Larson comes off the final corner after dealing with alternating problems all day long. Kyle Larson comes off the final corner and picks up his 7th win of the 2021 season. His first ever career win at the Charlotte Roval after getting some redemption after 2018. And Kyle Larson is able to come off the corner and pick up overall victory. I just want to say this. This is one of the greatest comebacks I've ever seen from Kyle Larson or any driver in NASCAR that I've seen in a very, very long time. I did not expect Kyle Larson to win this race either. I did not expect that, considering he got alternate, basically had issues early in the race, and I thought he was potentially going to get eliminated. I did not think that that was going to basically cause them to basically, at that particular point, get back there and have a chance to win. But the fact that he was able to win this race was really, really awesome. Huge congratulations to Kyle Larson on picking up the victory. And now let's go ahead and take a look at the results of today's race. All right, so now let's take a look at the results of today's race. So Kyle Larson picks up his 7th win of the season, advances to the round of 8. Tyler Reddick finished 2nd. Tyler Reddick had a really, really good car today. One of the fastest cars throughout the event. He honestly, if that caution doesn't come out for the situation earlier, I really do think that Tyler Reddick has a shot to win this race. And he almost actually won this race today. One of the best runs I've seen from Tyler Reddick this year. Really, really strong run. Close to picking up that first career win. But a 2nd place finish nonetheless. Great run for Tyler Reddick today. He finished 2nd. Chris Buescher finished 3rd. Chris Buescher had a really, really strong run today. Ran in the top 5, in the top 10 in the majority of the event. I'm not used to seeing Chris Buescher run really, really well on road courses in the Cup Series. So to see him run extremely well and get a 3rd place finish is really, really good. He's going to have a good team next year in Brad Keselowski that will probably help him somewhat on the road course, even though Keselowski has kind of struggled there. 3rd place finisher Chris Buescher. Great run for him. Kyle Busch finishes 4th. About time Kyle Busch has something good go for him at the Roval. This is Kyle Busch's first top 25 finish at the Charlotte Roval. And Kyle Busch had his best run, I think, ever in the history of the Charlotte Roval. He ran in the top 5, top 10 the majority of the day. Kind of got back there because of strategy, but bounced back to an incredible 4th place finish. Great run for Kyle Busch today. Denny Hamlin finished 5th. Great run for Denny Hamlin today. Denny Hamlin, the points looked like he had the fastest car in this race. Unfortunately, didn't have a chance to go for the win after basically getting on that strategy late in that event. But still to finish 5th in this race is really, really cool. Good job for Denny Hamlin. He finished his 5th in today's race. Matt DiBenedetto finished 6th. Great run for Matt DiBenedetto. That strategy did help Matt DiBenedetto. I think he ran a top 20, top 30 a lot of the day. Saw a run for Matty D. Finished 6th in today's event. Great run for him here on the road courses. And Matt DiBenedetto's pretty good at road courses historically, but gets 6th place finish. Great run for him. Joe Logano finished 7th. Great run for him. He does enough to advance to the next round. Top 10. Ran a last race in the top 10. Not to mention that. Great run for Joey Logano. Christopher Bell finished his 8th. Solid comeback after basically having issues early in the race. Had a speeding penalty early in the run. Gets an 8th place finish. Great run for him. Ryan Blaney finished his 9th. Very solid run for him. He ran top 10 a lot of this day. His all other driver also was able to advance to the next round. And Alex Bowman basically, unfortunately, finished 7th. And unfortunately for Alex Bowman, he's eliminated. A solid comeback, though, after alternative problems in this race. But he finished his 10th in today's event. Unfortunately, he's eliminated from the playoffs. I'll talk about the 4 they got eliminated here at the end, but he unfortunately gets eliminated. William Byron finished 11th. William Byron had looked like he had the fastest car in this race. Was really, really strong. Had a lot of pace. Had a lot of speed. And it looked like he was going to have a chance to go overall for the victory in today's event. But a 11th place finish regardless. Not a bad run. It does suck they didn't get a potential win that he deserved. If that caution doesn't come out for Chase Elliott, I do think he wins the race overall unless Tyler Reddick has a chance. But William Byron finished 11th. Going to help in points position, but unfortunately he will not advance to the round of 8 as well. Chase Elliott, incredible comeback for Chase Elliott. He finished 12th in today's event. After his issues and dust up with Kevin Harvick and getting damaged, he had an incredible comeback, was driving up there. He probably should have black flagged him, let's be honest, but still, Chase Elliott in the NASCAR is going to probably help Chase Elliott out just a little bit because he's the most popular driver. Chase Elliott advanced to the round of 8, finishes in 12th. Daniel Suarez finishes 13th, very solid top 15 run. Daniel Suarez ran a lot of this race in the top 10 and top 15, so he absolutely deserves a top 15 finish. Ran a lot of day up front. This is the first time Trackhouse Racing in a while has done really well. They've been struggling over the last few months, so it's really good to see that they have something go good, especially on a road course and no mechanical problems. 13th place finisher Daniel Suarez today. Bubba Wallace, after winning last week at Talladega, gets a top 50 finish on a road course. Bubba Wallace has not been that great on road courses, and I do think cautions did help him. But still, the fact that he's able to finish his second race this year on a road course in the top 15 is really, really good to see. I do think that this team has really been showing a lot of improvement, and I think it's been showing once again. 14th place finisher Bubba Wallace, really strong run for him. Austin Dillon finishes 15th. Michael McDowell with top 20 run finishes 16th. Eric Jones finished 17th. Solid top 20 run for him. Cole Custer finished 18th after his issues he had. He finishes 18th. He got involved in that crash with Chase Elliott with contact from Kevin Harvick. 19th place finisher Ryan Preece, solid top 20 run for him. Brad Keselowski finishes 20th. Brad Keselowski is able to advance to the next round, but unfortunately he would fall. Basically, didn't have a great day at the Roval regardless. 20th place finisher him. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. finishes 21st, 22nd place finisher Chase Briscoe, 23rd place finisher Ross Chastain, 24th for Eric Almirola, 25th for Kurt Busch, 26th for Anthony Alfredo, 27th for Joey Hand. After his issue, he still got a top 30 in his NASCAR Cup Series debut. Very solid run for the team, even though he got damaged. 28th for Josh Blicky, 29th for Martin Truex Jr., 30th for Quinn Houff, 31st for Scott Hecker, 32nd for Tim Hill, 33rd for Kevin Harvick after the damage late in the event. Garrett Sidley finishes in 34th, 35th for Corey LaJoie, 36th for Cody Ware, 37th for Justin Haley, 38th for AJ Allmendinger, and finishing 39th in last place in today's race is going to be Ryan Newman. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the playoff standings going into the next race. Well, we're not going to take a look. We'll talk about the 4 that unofficially got eliminated from the playoffs today. So unfortunately, the 4 guys that are already below the cutoff line in today's race, that being Kevin Harvick, William Byron, Christopher Bell, and Alex Bowman, they unfortunately have got eliminated and will not advance to the round of 8 of the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. That means that the 8 that are going to be advancing to try to win a championship are Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, Martin Truex Jr., Brad Keselowski, Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, and Kyle Busch will all be attempting to fight to try to win a championship and make it to the championship for after today's race. These were the 8 that I expected to make the final 8, to be perfectly honest. After this race, I thought that we were not really going to see any changes, maybe besides Kyle Busch getting eliminated and Kevin Harvick making his way in. I feel bad for the 4 that got eliminated. Solid seasons overall for them. Good season for them as a whole. Unfortunately, they do get eliminated. The fact that Kevin Harvick almost made the round of 8 was pretty impressive considering the season he's had. We may see tempers flare between us 2 later. Chase Elliott basically said after the race, hope he sends me Merry Christmas gift cards after that. So now let's talk about the race overall as a whole. I thought this race was really, really good for a majority event. I do think that there were overall some dry points, but throughout the race, even when the leaders had huge leads, you had a lot of the storylines going on. You had basically kept your focus throughout the event and a lot of entertainment for a cutoff race. And that's what a cutoff race is supposed to do, is keep you entertained and keep you focused throughout. Especially since at one point, the guy who won today's race almost had a chance to get eliminated. But still, this race is really, really solid in my opinion. Great racing, great battles for the lead, great battles throughout the field as a whole. I am going to give today's race at the Charlotte Roval overall a 9 out of 10. Like I said, I thought this race was really, really good. I won't say that this race was as good as like 2018 or even 2019, but this race is still really, really good. I think this has been the 3rd best race. I think this race was better than last year's race overall, to be perfectly honest with you. I thought it was very, very intriguing. A lot of engaging stories going in that event, and we see a guy make a really good comeback. Great for the sport as a whole. Once again, congratulations to Kyle Larson on picking up his 7th win of the season and advancing to the round of 8 with his win today. Looking at the cutoff line, Kyle Larson is 35 points ahead of Martin Truex Jr. He's got almost a full race cushion, and he's 40-something points above. Truex is, I think, like 7 or 8 points above or something like that. Larson's got a huge lead going in there, and we'll be going to the champ next race at Texas Motor Speedway to decide who goes to the championship for. If someone wins it to the next race at Texas, which is this upcoming week, we will see that. And also, not to mention, it is almost time to go for a championship. So, anyway, that is today's NASCAR race review from the Charlotte Roval. I want to thank us for watching. Please subscribe to the channel to get notified when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and to our page as well. Let's go below over that and comment your thoughts on today's race from the Charlotte Roval. What are your thoughts on today's race? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know your score to comments below. And congratulate Kyle Larson on picking up his 7th win of the 2021 season. Anyway, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's video. And I'll see you guys next time for some more great and awesome NASCAR content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.